Welcome to Serene Sleep Journeys. I'm Mia. If you've enjoyed my channel, I invite you to take a moment to subscribe. Tonight's story is called Travelers Returning Home. In the small town of Kelbridge, Arthur walks alone on a forest path under the setting sun. His adventurous spirit makes him eager to explore the unknown areas of the continent. At this moment, he suddenly heard a crisp laughter, which made him involuntarily walk in the direction of the sound. In an open meadow, Arthur saw a young girl holding a flying stone gently in her hand. The gem shimmers with blue light, making the whole scene appear mysterious and alluring. The girl's name is Alice, and she is also a young traveler looking for adventure. Arthur and Alice talked and found that they were both curious about the unknown on the continent. Alice shared that the flying stone she owns is an ancient, mysterious gem that can float in the air and bring extraordinary power to the holder. The two felt a wonderful tacit understanding while talking and laughing, as if their meeting was fate. However, this beautiful encounter was quickly broken by the sound of horse hooves in the distance. Soldiers of the Imperial Army appeared in the town, and their target was the flying stone in Alice's hand. Without hesitation, Arthur took Alice and fled into the alleys of the town and began their adventure. In the afterglow of the sunset, Arthur and Alice face an unknown adventure together. Behind them is the pursuit of the Imperial Army, and in front is the unknown path to the mysterious Sky City. Their encounter is just the beginning of the adventure. Arthur and Alice embark on a journey through dense forests, away from the Imperial forces hunting them. Their goal is to find the path to the mysterious Sky City of Boland. The forest is full of ancient trees, and the sunlight shines on them through the gaps in the leaves, like a mysterious fairyland. With a gentle sound of wind, Arthur and Alice felt the mysterious power hidden deep in the forest. They discover a trail hidden behind ancient trees that leads to Simbala, an exotic city. The buildings in Simbala tower into the sky, and every building exudes a strong, exotic flavor. On the streets of the city, they met various residents, including enthusiastic vendors, mysterious mages, and artists who were passionate about art. Arthur and Alice could not help but be attracted by the multiculturalism of Simbala. They tasted exotic food, enjoyed exotic dances, and felt that the city was full of vitality. In an ancient library, Arthur and Alice discover more secrets about the flying stones. An ancient scroll records the origin of the flying stone and its relationship with continental civilization. This made them more curious about the gems in their hands, and also made them realize that Boland's problem may involve a deeper history. As night falls, the lights of Simbala are reflected on the lake, and the city's night is like a dreamy show. Arthur and Alice spent a peaceful and magical night in this exotic place, adding more color to their adventurous journey. However, unknown adventures are still waiting for them. Boland, once a prosperous place illuminated by the light of flying stones, is now immersed in ruins and silence. Arthur and Alice walked through the streets of the city and felt a heavy and lonely atmosphere. Their goal is to solve the mystery of the decline of Poland's German civilization, and at the same time, they have to face a more threatening pursuit from the Imperial Army. In the city's central square, they discovered a magnificent altar set with faded gems. Arthur gently stroked the ancient stone tablet, while Alice concentrated on studying the history of Poland. Gradually, they uncover the truth about Sal's past as a respected scientist. Thrall's ambition is to bring prosperity to the continent by mastering the power of the Flying Stone. However, the experiment had devastating consequences. The Flying Stone went out of control, and Boland's civilization began to collapse. In order to gain greater power, Thrall betrayed his ideals and attempted to conquer the entire continent by controlling the Flying Stone. In the ruins of the city, Arthur and Alice discovered a secret passage leading to an underground laboratory. At the end of the corridor, they found Thrall's laboratory, full of abandoned equipment and unfinished experimental records. These records reveal the secrets of the Flying Stones and how Thrall betrayed his own ideals. What shocked them even more was that Thrall was actually controlling the Imperial Army. At this moment, there was a dull sound of footsteps, and the captain of the Imperial Army appeared. He said coldly that although Thrall's experiments brought destruction, they also allowed the Empire to gain more power. In order to protect this secret, Arthur and Alice had to face a greater threat. They decided to temporarily evacuate the laboratory, preparing to search for more clues and reveal more secrets about Poland and the Empire. In the darkness of the ruins of Boland, their journey becomes more confusing. Arthur and Alice decided to investigate in depth to uncover the truth hidden under the ruins of Boland. They travel through the ruins of the city in search of more clues, trying to understand the secrets of the Flying Stones and the true intentions of the Imperial forces. In a corner of the city, they discovered a library buried by time. In the dusty books, they found more information about the Flying Stones and the Imperial Army. It turned out that the Imperial Army had cooperated with Thrall a few years ago and jointly planned a far-reaching conspiracy. The Imperial forces took advantage of Thrall's experiments going out of control, seizing the opportunity to gain more power and seizing control of the entire continent amid the chaos. As their investigation deepens, Arthur and Aerith come into contact with the former inhabitants of Boland, and some of their survivors reveal more untold stories about Thrall and the Imperial forces. It turns out that Thrall was once the pride of Boland, and the original intention of his experiment was to bring prosperity. However, the temptation of power caused him to abandon his original intention, leading to Boland's catastrophic collapse. In an abandoned laboratory, Arthur and Alice discover an unfinished letter that reveals Thrall's plan to use the power of the Flying Stone to experiment again and bring the Imperial Army under his control. The implementation of this plan will bring greater disaster to the entire continent. While Arthur and Alice were thinking about how to reveal the truth, a group of Imperial Army soldiers suddenly appeared and surrounded them. Faced with this sudden threat, the two had to make a difficult decision. They decide to use Boland's underground passage to escape, and at the same time decide to face Sal personally and reveal his conspiracy. Deep in the ruins, the fates of Arthur and Alice become more confusing, and the challenges they will face become more severe. Arthur and Alice escape the pursuit of the Imperial Army and use the underground passages under the ruins of Boland to escape a danger. They decide to face the truth, find Thrall, and expose his conspiracy. Passing through abandoned laboratories and broken corridors, they finally arrived at the heart of Boland City. core area of the city, they found a magnificent hall, which was Thrall's base camp. The hall is filled with an ancient magical atmosphere, as if it carries the past glory of Poland. In the center of the hall, they found Thrall, sitting in front of an altar decorated with flying stones. Arthur and Alice approached the altar, and Sal's eyes stayed on them for a moment, as if he could see everything. The atmosphere in the hall became solemn and tense. Finally, Alice broke the silence. "Let's reveal the truth and stop this disaster." Thrall sighed deeply and turned his eyes to the flying stone on the altar. "This stone was once the ideal in my heart, but now it has become a symbol of my failure. I admit my fault, but I also feel sorry for this continent. Worries about the future." Arthur asked about the true purpose of the Imperial Army, and after a moment of silence, Thrall gradually revealed the truth. Years ago, Boland was a wonderland of flying stones, and Thrall was a well-respected scientist in the land. He dreams of bringing prosperity and progress to the continent by mastering the power of the flying stone. Behind this ideal lies a seductive and dangerous desire. As early as when Poland was a prosperous place, the Imperial Army had secretly noticed the potential power contained in this land. They sent spies deep into Poland to try to obtain the secret of the flying stone. It was during this process that they discovered Sal's research. By chance, representatives of the Imperial Army made contact with Thrall. They lured Thrall into working with them with the promise of endless resources and support. The target of this conspiracy is not only the power of the flying stone, but also the results of Poland's huge technological and magical research. In order to realize his ideals, Thrall was eager to change the fate of the continent, but was eventually deceived by the promise of the Imperial Army. So, he began to conspire with the Imperial Army and jointly planned a great experiment. The purpose of this experiment is to control the energy of the flying stone, to enable Boland to achieve greater prosperity and become the leader of the entire continent. However, unforeseen problems arose during the experiment. The power of the flying stone was far beyond their control, causing a terrible disaster. Poland's civilization began to collapse rapidly. The city's buildings collapsed, the earth cracked, and the loss of control of the flying stones also triggered natural disasters in other parts of the continent. All this came at a huge cost, and the Imperial forces gradually gained more power amid the chaos. Their goal has grown from the original flying stone to a much larger one, and the Empire's ruling hand has extended to the entire continent. The fall of Boland was only the beginning of this conspiracy, and the aftermath of the disaster also swept the entire continent, pushing it into unprecedented chaos. This experiment became a tragedy in history, and Boland was turned into ruins, hiding an unknown secret. I desire power and want to bring prosperity to this continent, but my greed led to the destruction of everything. Now, I am willing to pay the price for my past crimes. Thrall's voice was low and regretful. Faced with all this, Arthur and Alice realized that they must work together to stop the attack of the Imperial Army and prevent a greater disaster from happening again. As a result, they reached a temporary cooperation agreement with Sal. The atmosphere in the hall became tense, and in the distance, the footsteps of the Imperial Army gradually approached. Arthur and Aerith stood beside Thrall, preparing for the coming battle. At this moment, they felt the weight of history and were determined to change this turning point of fate. With faith in the future, they welcomed the dawn of victory together. The atmosphere in the hall was solemn and tense. Arthur and Alice stood beside Thrall, preparing for the upcoming battle. The footsteps of the Imperial Army were getting closer and closer, and a tense atmosphere filled the depths of the hall. This is a battle we cannot avoid. Arthur's eyes were firm. He took a deep breath and tightened the weapon in his hand. Alice nodded slightly, her eyes flashing with courage and determination. We cannot let the Imperial Army continue their conspiracy. This battle is not only for Boland, but also for the future of the entire continent. The door of the main hall slowly opened, and a team of Imperial troops entered. Their military uniforms shone with cold metallic light, and their steps were firm and orderly. At the front of the team was a general in armor, his eyes revealing arrogance and ambition. "It seems that you are preparing to fight us," the general said mockingly, the weapon in his hand emitting a dazzling cold light. Arthur responded calmly, "We will not allow you to continue to destroy the continent. This battle is to defend freedom and peace." The battle was about to break out, and fierce conflicts broke out in the hall. Arthur wields his weapons and engages in fierce battles with Imperial soldiers, while Alice uses her magic to wreak havoc on the battlefield. Thrall also joined the battle group, using his technological power to fight against the advanced weapons of the Imperial Army. During the battle, the hall echoed with the sounds of metal clashing and magic colliding. Arthur and Alice's tacit cooperation allowed them to operate with ease on the battlefield, and Thrall's technological weapons also bought them valuable time. However, the strength of the Imperial Army was so strong that the war situation fell into a stalemate. Just when the situation reached a deadlock, Arthur suddenly felt a powerful force surge in his body. He looked up and saw Alice glowing brightly, releasing an ancient and powerful magic. "We are not fighting alone," Alice's voice echoed throughout the hall. "The power of the mainland is with us." Her magic is woven into Arthur's weapons, multiplying their power. Arthur felt a powerful energy. He waved his weapon and launched a wave of powerful attacks. At this moment, the battle situation reversed. The Imperial Army gradually retreated, and the sound of fighting in the hall gradually subsided. Arthur, Alice, and Thrall stood in the Hall of Victory, looking at the retreating figure of the Imperial Army. Although victory is hard won, it is only the beginning. Arthur stared into the distance, knowing that there were still many problems to be solved on the continent, and their adventure was not over. In the ruins of the hall, the journey of Arthur and Alice will continue. They will explore the deeper secrets of the continent and lead people towards a future full of hope.